Hello, everybody. Charles Cook today. It's great to be with you on today's immigration update. I think it's April 19th. I don't know how it can be April 19th, but it is. We're going to do today in English. We did last week in Spanish, and this week will be in English. But of course, I'll answer Spanish questions. Por supuesto, contestaré las preguntas en español, pero el update hoy día está en inglés. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today was something that got a lot of attention yesterday, the day before yesterday. The newest version of the GOP Immigration Bill, and that's a GOP bill because there is zero Democrats that are ever going to join this bill. It's a 130-page bill which purports to fix the border. Actually, what this bill does, what it says it would do if it ever became law, is it would limit the ability of people to apply at the border for asylum, which is a violation of our international treaties. It would say that basically all border-related asylum cases need to be adjudicated at the border, but it doesn't allocate the $1 billion that will be needed to make that happen. It also basically says if you want asylum, you get to go to jail and wait in jail. I mean, that's the bill. It's never going to pass. It's just not. It's a terrible bill. If you can think of a bill written by Stephen Miller and then make it worse, it's this bill. So I don't even think it will pass the House. I think there's at least 3 Republicans who won't vote for it, if not many more, because it's just a bad bill. It's a poorly written bill. Now, even if they pass it, of course, zero chance it passes the Senate. We'll never have a hearing. Heck, if the Democratic Senate didn't have a hearing on the Democrats' bill to fix immigration, which actually was a legitimate bill, HB 6, not perfect, but it was a good bill, was actually trying to fix a broken system. This is just basically shoving the broken system into a garbage can and then not taking the garbage out because it's still going to stink. So they're not going to have this bill. And of course, Biden would never sign it. So this is just a campaign issue. It's just, hey, look at us, we're going to crack down. We're going to be mean. We're going to stop these terrible brown people from coming to our border and seeking our protection, even though they're saving our economy. So that's the new immigration bill. Zero chance it passes. So when you see it, when you hear about it, zero chance it passes. Now, there is something happening, though, at the border that is big news, and that is going to happen. And this is the end of Title 42. Oh, by the way, the GOP bill tries to keep the Title 42 in place. Title 42, so that you know, Title 42, people talk about it, refers to Title 42 of the United States Code, which is the code section for the Department of Health and Human Services. And basically what they're referring to within Title 42 is that the director of CDC has been given authority by Congress to essentially close our borders for pandemics, and they've been the law for many, many, many years. President Obama used it. President Obama closed the border? No, I thought he was open borders Obama. He really was the deporter in chief, but yeah, he closed the people that were coming possibly from East Africa with Ebola. And other presidents have done the same thing. It's not unusual. Trump just weaponized this. It's nothing different. It's just been weaponized. And Biden is the one that said how terrible Trump was for weaponizing it, and he weaponized it. But it ends. It's going to end in May. It's done. And what happens, I think it's May 11th is when this ends. Maybe it's May 1st. I think it's May 11th. I can't recall which day. At the same time, the Biden administration is trying to put into place new asylum regulations, because they can make regulations, which basically says, look, if you come to the border and you seek asylum, you're entitled to do that. But we're going to detain you. We are going to try to adjudicate your case at the border, and we're going to use resources. We're going to shift resources around to make that happen. And that which means people like me who have clients in Atlanta who filed for asylum in 2013, who haven't had an interview yet, they're going to wait more time because all those officers, and there aren't a lot of them, all those officers are going to go to the border to adjudicate the current cases. And they basically, the thing is to really effectively do an asylum case, and I've done maybe 1,000 asylum cases in my career, is you need time. Heck, if there's really a claim for asylum, your client probably has PTSD. They're not going to have clear memories. They are not going to be able to articulate a claim. They will have just come across a horrific situation if they're coming from Mexico, or kidnapped, raped, attempted murder, who knows, extorted, and it's going to be really hard to present a claim that's going to pass muster. But time allows a lawyer to do that. And that's the other thing. There's very few lawyers at the border. I have good friends that are down there, but there's X number of cases they can take. And if today there's like 1,300 people just in El Paso, they're going to come in. What, they're going to have 1,300 hearings in a day? Are they going to deport them to Mexico? It's all of this is very unclear. So the end of Title 42 is going to be, I think really the only word you can think of is chaos. It's going to be chaos at the border. And is that Biden's fault? I don't think so. The reality is the fault is on the American economy. Yes, a lot of people are truly fleeing for their lives, but they're also fleeing to the country that has jobs. We have 5 million open jobs we don't have bodies for. Today, I think the most number I saw is like 11 million open jobs. We have 6 million people looking for work. What do you think happens to the rest? It's a vacuum. Ross Perot, most of you don't even know who Ross Perot was, but when he ran for president, he warned America of the great sucking sound that NAFTA was going to cause. Well, in reality, this is the great sucking sound in reverse. It's like, please give us your willing workers who do crappy jobs, not your tired, your poor, humble masses yearning to be free, but your people that will do anything for work. Have them come here. That's what's happening today. So that's the problem. Now, I just will say one word of caution: anybody seeking asylum, just remember this: if Border Patrol ICE releases you, you only have 1 year to apply for asylum. 1 year. You don't wait till you have a court hearing. It's 1 year from when you entered, whether or not you have a court hearing, whether or not ICE has even given you a notice to go to court. You must apply for asylum. You've got to do it. Please. All right. The last thing I want to talk about today is, why is there no DACA decision? What happened to DACA? I mean, this case has been fully briefed in front of this judge for months. This judge that was so anxious to get rid of DACA that he quickly wrote an opinion and stopped the implementation of the Biden rule of regulation, an actual regulation that never happened before on DACA. He stopped it cold for briefing, fully briefed for months. Where is he? He isn't the reason he stopped DACA still valid? I mean, to me, the judge made a gross error when he did that. The Biden administration clearly followed the rules. The judge didn't like that President Biden could do this, but he could. That's the power of Section 212D5 of the Immigration Nationality, the parole provision. President's got parole authority. He can parole anybody. In fact, what's hilarious is today, the Heritage Foundation, a massive right-wing anti-immigration group, published a memo that said, "Hey, we need to get rid of 212D5 and limit its authority." Why? Because it gives the president power to do DACA. It gives the president power to parole people in from Venezuela and Cuba and Nicaragua and Haiti, so they don't come to the border. They recognize that he can do this. So when this judge does issue his DACA decision, obviously he's trying to figure out a way to deny DACA, obviously. But I don't think he can legally do it. Ultimately, end of the day, when it goes to Supreme Court, they're just going to say, president's got the authority. You might not like it, change the law. But you, Congress, gave the president authority to do this. So there you go. I think that's why we don't have a DACA decision. So in the meantime, all of you who are with DACA, renew your DACA. If you're within 6, 8, 10 months of expiration, renew it. File it. I mean, there's crazy stories, people getting renewed in like a day or a week. It's crazy stuff I'm seeing online. And also, obviously, for you 580,000 people with DACA, that percentage of you that has not yet traveled, who do not have a lawful entry, just get one. Get your travel document, go home, see grandma and grandpa, go on that business trip, do that study abroad program, go get your medical care done. Do it. Get it now while they're issuing advanced paroles. This is your opportunity, because who knows when you will have this opportunity ever again. And who knows who you may marry. You may marry that U.S. citizen in the future. Remember, it's only about 580,000 people with DACA today, 580,000. At its max, it was almost 1 million.
What happened to the other 400,000? The vast majority got green cards. Do this. Use DACA to help yourself. And of course, if you got DACA, I've said this 100 times, if you got DACA before you're 18 and a half and you've always maintained DACA, your employer can sponsor you. You. All right. Let's take the questions down. And of course, if you need to reach me, you know you can do that. I am Charles Cook, you know who I am. But you can call us here for an appointment. You can also make an appointment on our website. Lots of information on our website. We're in the process of updating it, but lots of information on the website as well. Let's look at the questions we've got here. Amanda, ¿cómo estás? Buenas tardes. We got some questions in Spanish. I'm going to do some Spanish and some English. Hola, buenas tardes. Bueno, tengo una pregunta. Tengo un tío que tiene TPS y él tiene una hija. Nacido aquí hace ya, pero su hija no lo quiere. Pedir por el mantuvo hasta la 18 que hay de que puede arreglar y sin que la hija la pide, no se compra. So this person has an uncle who has TPS, who has a daughter who's 23, but his daughter won't help him because she was not taken care of well by him. Treat your kids well. They will take care of you when you get old, or they won't. So Orlando, su empleador le puede pedir. So his employer can sponsor him. Yeah. Zulita, ¿cómo estás? Terry, you saw, I already talked about DACA. Vanessa, good to see you, Vanessa, here today. Another different Facebook picture. You change like every week, Vanessa. Lily, good to see you. Alma, do you think the DREAM Act will pass? No, the DREAM Act, there is no immigration bill that will pass this Congress before the election. None. It will not happen. There's zero chance. The Republicans will not pass anything that helps Joe Biden. They won't do it. It's zero. Zero. Double zero. Zero, double zero, triple zero chance that the DREAM Act will pass. I'm sorry. That's just reality. I'm in Florida with a new bill DeSantis trying to pass. No, it will not affect you because that bill will be struck down. So here's the funny thing about that DeSantis bill. It mimics a bill that Georgia had back in 2013. And the 11th Circuit, the federal court that's over Florida and Georgia, ruled it was unconstitutional. It's illegal. The bill's junk. It'll be, if they do pass it and that idiot signs it, one, he will seal his fate. He will never become president of the United States. And two, it will never become law because the court will stop it immediately. They have to. There's 11th Circuit case law directly on point. Punto, end of story. So no. But my suggestion is leave Florida. Obviously, it's not friendly to immigrants. Zuri, ¿cómo estás? How are you? How long it takes for you to get your green card through VAWA? Well, I don't need a green card through VAWA, but how long it might take you to get your green card through VAWA? If the spouse who abused you was a citizen, probably a year or two, maybe a little bit less. The resident, maybe a little bit longer, something like that. Una pregunta. Ahora tengo una nieta de 7 años. Ella nació en ese país, pero se la llevaron muy bebita a México. Ahora ella tiene un hijo de 5 años y quiere venir. ¿Cuál es el proceso? Okay, so this woman has a granddaughter who's 17 years old, born here, but left the country as a child. And she now has a 5-year-old, which is 5-month-old. How does she bring the child here? Well, I'm going to answer in Spanish than in English. Ella tiene que pedir a su hijo. Su hijo no es un ciudadano, porque ella no tenía la residencia necesaria para transmitir su ciudadanía a él, pero ella puede pedir a él, pero solamente puede pedir a él si ella vive aquí. So here's the deal. She cannot pass her citizenship to the child because she did not live here long enough to transmit citizenship. You have to have been here for 5 years, 2 of which is after the age of 14, to pass your citizenship to a child. She doesn't have that. She can sponsor her child, but to sponsor her child, she has to live in the United States. Yeah, I know it's kind of a catch-22 situation. So we had great questions today. If you need a consult, you give me a call. You know how to reach me. I will be back next Wednesday at about 1 o'clock if I try to do this. We'll do it in Spanish next week, of course. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, just give me a call. Email me. We're here. We're here to answer your questions. Till then, have a great week. Bye-bye, everybody. And